What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am bringing you my go-to fast gunner build in the OnceHumanBeta. It's not fully optimized, I will say that. There's one particular gold mod I would like, and a couple gold pieces of armor that I wasn't able to get during the beta that could make this build a little bit better. But for what it's worth, using just base gear that you can get for free just by playing the game and getting lucky on a few random wish machine rolls, I think this build turned out pretty cool. It's actually my main go-to build that I used during the beta. So without any further ado, let's jump into the details. So if we go to gear, I'm still rocking the recurve crossbow to proc that bullseye effect. I've been using this on every single build just because it's really, really strong. I will do a demo of the damage output with the bullseye effect and without, so you guys can see it. It's still pretty good. But for the main weapon that I'll be using, it is the MG4 Predator. There is a couple other weapons that you can use, but in my opinion, this is pretty much the best, at least in the beta, fast gunner weapon that you can get. I got really, really lucky and managed to get a decent weapon for every one of the build types I wanted to make, so I wanted to make sure to get this video out. But before we jump into the armor or the weapon, the tier 7 and tier 10 calibration perks, I put both into weak spot damage. We have a ton of rounds in the mag with LMGs, so we're going to be able to shoot the weak spot for an extended period of time, and you get some nice multiplicative damage modifiers with weak spot, so that's why I put the two perks there. On the gun itself, its built-in characteristics are hitting an enemy grants a 40% chance to trigger fast gunner. Shooting within 0.8 seconds after a kill consumes no bullets, which makes us be able to shoot longer, and hitting the same target consecutively grants weapon damage plus 2%, capping at plus 30%. The effect resets when the target is changed. So this is really good for bosses. You can ramp up your damage really quick. And when the mag is more than 50% full, your damage is also at 30%. So that's really good. Now, the reason why I prefer, or ideally would prefer, like the Renegade set for this build is because that has some really good magazine perks on it, where you can reload once your magazine's empty, and depending on how many weak spot hits you get, your mag can be really, really big, which will basically give you way more bonuses with the passive on this gun. But that being said, with the setup that I have now, it still is pretty good, but just know if you're lucky and you get those Renegade pieces, it can be even better. But moving on to the mods, I'm using the Lasting Fortification. Fast Gunner stacks gets a +1 modifier, and weapon damage is increased by +5 per stack. So nice damage buff for Fast Gunner there. For the accessories, I'm running a muzzle hammer compensator, the optic or compact reflex sight, tactical laser sight, and the large LMG drum mag. More ammunition, the better. Then we can go into the recurve bow. This one's pretty straightforward. Not much for mods or specializations on this one, but I do have a vulnerability amplifier. So targets are more vulnerable to the bullseye, which it procs, which is nice. Moving on to the armor, I'm running the 4-piece Falcon set. So we have the Falcon hat. This has Precise Strike, the gold Precise Strike mod, hitting weak spots grants plus 15% weak spot damage for 3 seconds, and that can stack up to 3 times. So that's another 45% bonus damage to weak spot, which is nice. Moving on to the mask, I have the Precise Shot mask with the Shooting Blitz, gold Shooting Blitz mod, triggering Fast Gunner every time, grants plus 25 or 2.5% weapon damage for 10 seconds, up to 20 stacks. So another big damage buff while using Fast Gunner as well. You can get the Precise Shot mask from the enemy encampment. I can show it on the map here in the Lone Wolf Wastes. It's going to be this one right here, the Sunshine Farm, basically. You'll find the mystery chest up on the little watchtower. And if you unlock that, that should give you the blueprints to craft this mask. So that is where you find that. Moving on, I have the Falcon gloves with the crit damage boost gold mod on it. This will give us plus 14% crit rate. I have some decent weak spot damage and crit damage secondary perks on it. Ideally, I haven't been able to do the testing because I don't have it yet, but I would like to have the gold weak spot mod. That has the potential to do a little bit more damage, I think, than the critical damage boost mod. So that is a potential one that you could swap out on the gloves if you want. But moving on to the boots, I have the boots on the ground with the covered advance mod. Taking no damage within 6 seconds grants 20% melee weapon and status damage for 30 seconds, and the effect resets when the duration ends. You could also, if you want, use something like slow and steady. That'll also give you the same bonus to your weapon damage, so another potential option there. You could also, if you don't have these, run flat crit damage or weak spot damage on this as well to get your passive bonuses percentages up higher. So that's another one if you're kind of still starting out. Those are other good options to put on that. What did I do? I got the boots. Next we have the Falcon Jacket. This I have a crit damage boost mod. Again, you can technically, if you really want, run weak spot damage on there as well. I found that I got a little bit more out of my mag when I was doing the crit damage boosts instead. Mine has a little bit extra crit damage on top of that with the secondary perks, which is nice. And then last but not least, for the pants, we have the fourth and final Falcon piece, the Falcon Pants. And this has the gold bullet siphon mod on it. This will increase our weapon damage by 5% for every 5 bullets consumed in the mag. And it grants bonus weapon damage of 5%, and then every 5 bullets consumed in the mag grants another 4% weapon damage, capping at 20%. So that's potentially 25 bonus weapon damage there that we can get. So a really good mod for weapons that have a ton of ammunition. And this is another really good combo if you have something like the Renegade set, how I said, where you can get a really big magazine with some of the perks on that armor set. So they can kind of synergize really well. So Bullet Siphon, really good mod for the pants. So that's what I would recommend there. So yeah, that is pretty much the build. Here is the stats. We have 32% crit rate, 93.2% crit damage, 75% weak spot damage, and 29.8 weapon damage bonus modifier. If we go into the Cradle, for the Cradle perks, I probably don't even have this set up right now, so I'm going to have to swap these out. But the ones I would recommend is crossbow damage boost. I can get rid of the SMG, that's my old build. And you're going to want to have the LMG reload boost on there. That will, the fewer the bullets left in the mag, the higher the reload speed at the end, capping at plus 40. So really good mod to have there. Moving on to the next row, I would recommend taking Tactical Combo. Damage plus 25% for 9 seconds if the mag is over half full after a kill. Otherwise, weapon switching speed is plus 30% for 9 seconds. So I would take that. This one is status damage. You do get a little bit of a bonus status damage kind of across the board for 25% there for 6 seconds. Then you have Deadly Combo. I like to take this because it makes our medicines more efficient. Some of the secondary perks on my mods make medicines a little bit more viable as well. So that combos nicely there. Moving on, you're going to want... Probably should have gone through this before I did these. These ones don't necessarily matter too much. That's Bounce and Shrapnel. That's Burn and Frost Vortex. Reloading, Power Surge, and Unstable Bomber. Yeah, so these ones aren't too crazy. I'm curious if this one's Fast Gunner. I can never remember what that perk is. But anyways, moving on. We have Elemental Sense I'm taking. That was for my shock build. Chain Reaction, that's Burn and Frost. Where is Fast Gunner? Here we go. This is the one that you want to take at the end. So I can swap out this one. We don't want that. And you're going to want Steady Hand within the duration of any continuous buff. So either Forged Warfare or Fast Gunner, weapon and weak spot damage is increased by another 25%. And you also have plus 20% accuracy. So really good perk to take there for Fast Gunner builds. So those are the perks that I tend to take. Some of them are obviously swapped in there just because I like to switch builds a lot, but those are the key ones that you're going to want to take for Fast Gunner. Last but not least, before I jump into the damage, one food item in particular that I would recommend if you can for consumables would be the Stargazy Pie. This gives crit damage plus 20% with high energy recovery, so that's a good food item to have there. I don't have the recipe, but there is also another, I want to say meatloaf or something, that just gives flat weapon damage, plus 10 flat weapon damage, I believe. So that would be another good consumable to take. So feel free to grab those if you want to do some more damage. But last but not least, I guess the only thing we can do now is show off the damage. And again, I'll do one with bullseye and one without. Should be around 25 to 35k damage with and without. So we'll start with the bullseye. Make sure I'm all reloaded here. Should be good. Here we go. 110 round magazine, potentially more if you get better secondary mods. So yeah, we were at 35, almost 36,000 DPS, and 385,000 with one mag, so not bad. So now that I'm reloaded, so what I say, 35,000, so we'll see what it is without bullseye. Yeah, so even without bullseye, we were at about 28k. So you're losing about 5 to 6k DPS. So not a total loss. It doesn't make or break the build, but if you want to squeeze out that little bit of extra damage for like bosses and elites and things like that, you can just unload on these magazines forever with LMGs. So it's a really good buff to take for different situations. 34, 35, 36, yeah, 36,000. So this is for my normal day-to-day gameplay, my go-to build. It was doing better than my shrapnel build that I made for DPS wise. Plus you just don't ever really have to reload as much. You can take out multiple enemies with one mag without reloading, which is nice. And several of the secondary mods on my gold mods have faster reload perks, so the reload isn't even that bad, even though it's an LMG. So really decent build, especially if you're just starting out. And like I said, it's still viable despite not having any gold armor pieces, so you can just get all of these for free just by going through and clearing out the normal encampments. You don't need to get lucky at the wish machine, but the renegade set will make this build even better. But yeah, that is pretty much the build, you guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. I appreciate all of you guys' feedback. If you think there's something better that I can throw on here other than what I already mentioned to make this build as perfect as it can possibly be, feel free to comment that down in the comment section below and let me know, and I'll go right ahead and update it. I usually post any updates to the builds in the pinned comment, so feel free to let me know down there. Lastly, if you want to join a community of like-minded gamers, feel free to check the links down in the description as well and join us on the Discord. We have hundreds and hundreds of players in there, many of which are stoked about Once Human and are definitely going to be playing once the game fully releases soon. So feel free to check that out, and hopefully we see you guys around. But until the next one, hope you guys had a great day, and we'll see you all later.